Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're in decent shape, you've got your career handled, you're socially calibrated, but you're still not attracting the quality of women you know you're capable of? Or maybe you've gone through phases where you doubled down on self-improvement. You hit the gym harder, read more about the game, optimized your wardrobe, even tried approaching more, but your dating life still feels like an uphill battle? Well, if that's you, you'll want to tune into this episode where we talk about why modern dating isn't a willpower problem. It's actually a leverage problem. I'm going to break down what I call the 4X dating playbook: your product, your market, your marketing, and the missing multiplier that almost nobody talks about: brotherhood. You'll understand why some men grind for years and barely move the needle, while other guys seem to create momentum almost unfairly fast. This isn't an episode for total beginners either. We're still terrified to talk to women. So if you're not getting dates at all and you haven't built any baseline confidence, this framework will probably be too advanced. This episode is for intermediate or advanced guys who can get dates, maybe even hook up, but you kind of know deep down you're playing on hard mode. So if that's you, this one's going to change how you think about dating entirely. You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped countless men rapidly achieve all of their social and dating goals. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women, make awesome friends, en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can possibly be. I'm absolutely obsessed with giving you the most leverage ways possible to win the game, so stick around, let's go. So let's start with something uncomfortable. If you're stuck right now, it's probably not because you lack discipline. It's probably not because you need more confidence, and it's probably not because women are broken. It's because you're playing a 1X game in a 4X world. And today I'm going to give you the framework that fixes it: product, market, marketing, brotherhood. 4 multipliers. And when you understand how multipliers work, your entire dating life becomes obvious. But this isn't additive. This isn't do 10% better in a few areas and hope it works out. This is multiplicative. Each variable compounds the others. If you improve one area while another is severely weak, the weak one becomes a bottleneck. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 16. But if one of those numbers drops to half, your 16 becomes 8. If one of them collapses completely, the entire system can collapse with it. That's why you can be in great shape and still struggle. That's why you can live in a big city and still feel invisible. That's why you can run ads, but without any social proof, nothing converts. And that's why guys who align on all 4 variables feel like they're cruising downhill while everyone else is grinding uphill. This is why. And I want to credit one of my clients from the IC community for helping crystallize this in a really amazing way. Let's call him Ken. Ken took a bunch of concepts I've been teaching for years, including shtick, social circle, and how to use Instagram properly, and he packaged it into something he called the 3X leverage playbook. So I'm going to tell his story in a way that makes this lesson land. And then I'm going to add a 4th multiplier that I believe is the real cheat code: brotherhood, another way of saying wingmen. Doing this as a coordinated crew instead of as a lonely solo grinder. So this episode is a blend. It's Ken's framework and story, my principles and my system, and the bigger idea that ties it all together. So if you're struggling with dating, I'm going to attempt to prove to you that it's not really a willpower problem. It's an infrastructure problem. And leverage fixes infrastructure. So let's start with a situation most men are in: the modern trap. Here's what most men do. They wake up, they work, they go to the gym, maybe they scroll the apps at night, maybe they do a bit of socializing on the weekends, and then they slowly start to believe one of 2 stories. Story number 1, women are the problem. Dating is broken. I'm wasting my time trying, or I'm just going to settle for a woman below my ideal standards. Story 2, I'm the problem. I need more game, more confidence, more money, more looks, more whatever. But both stories are incomplete because both stories ignore leverage. Ken's story is a perfect example of what I mean. Ken was a late 20s guy living in San Francisco. He was swiping endlessly, getting very few matches, lots of ghosting, texting that fizzled, a mediocre date once in a while, not meeting the caliber of women he was going for. Then he discovered day game, approaching women during the day. He put in a ton of reps and he got better results than the apps, but he also realized something brutal. Day game's high effort. It can work, but it's not really that efficient. Your results are tied directly to your time and your energy, and then life happens. Career focus, less reps. He returned to it later and he realized San Francisco is slower post-COVID. So even though he's in good shape and he has his life together and he has decent social skills, he's still banging his head against the wall. And here's the key line from Ken. He had a decent product, but he had a market and a marketing problem. He was in a terrible ratio. He was undifferentiated, and he relied on trash marketing strategy. Apps, or a strategy that can work but is inefficient, day game. That's the entire lesson. Most men obsess over product while ignoring market and marketing, and then they wonder why their life feels like an uphill battle. So fast forward, Ken moved to Cali, Colombia, and suddenly his dating life looks something like he would not have believed in his 20s. Beautiful women in their early to mid 20s. He's got abundance, he's got a social life, he's got momentum, and he's the first to tell you it was not because he became some new superhuman. It was because he stopped trying to fix dating with effort and started fixing it with leverage. So let's define the core framework in plain English. The formula: product times market times marketing equals abundance. Then I add times brotherhood. Product is you, your attractiveness, your vibe, your lifestyle, your competence, your standards, your ability to lead. And market is where you're playing: your city, your neighborhood, your venues, your demographic, the ratio, the culture. Marketing is how you're visible, how women discover you, how they feel safe and intrigued, how they get enough context to say yes to you. And brotherhood is a network effect. Wingman, coordination, shared events, shared lead flow, shared social proof, shared momentum. So now let's go through each multiplier and actually make it practical. So multiplier 1, product. Most guys already kind of understand product. Get in shape, dress better, make money, build confidence, cool. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Those are table stakes if you want high quality women. Being not a slob is not a differentiator. And if you keep pouring all your energy in a product while ignoring the other multipliers, you fall into what Ken called product procrastination. That's the guy who says, once I get leaner, then I'll start going out. Once I make more money, then I'll date seriously. Once I fix my confidence, then I'll put myself out there. Translation, he's trying to earn permission to live. And that's a trap. So yes, handle the fundamentals, but then you need leverage inside product. 2 levers that compound everything: your social circle and your shtick. Social circle as product. If you can build even a small social circle of aligned guys and start organizing events, you instantly become a different category of man. Because you're no longer selling a date with a stranger. You're offering an experience, a night, a vibe, a group, a community. And women are more comfortable walking into a social setting than walking into a one-on-one situation with a guy they don't really know. And here's the part most guys miss. A good event is not about you trying to impress women. A good event is a machine that generates pre-selection, social proof, and new intros. And if you do it the right way, you're going to flip the script. Most environments have a bad ratio. There's too many thirsty dudes, there's a few guarded girls, and that environment trains women to be defensive and picky. But if you build your own environment and the ratio is strong, the whole vibe changes. Now women are going to compete socially. They're more open, they're more feminine, they relax, and suddenly you're not chasing, you're selecting. Now shtick. Let me explain a concept called your shtick. This is one of my favorite concepts because it's really misunderstood. And your shtick is not some gimmick. It is a visible, attractive craft that naturally puts you around women and gives you a reason to interact with them. Examples: photography, DJing, tarot card reading, social dance. Golf, by the way, or any sport for that matter, can even be a shtick if you use it correctly. Music, cooking, party hosting. Pick something you actually enjoy, because if you do something only to get girls, it'll feel forced and you'll never develop real competence. Ken used piano as his example. And it's perfect because it's attractive, it's visible, it creates interaction, it makes women feel something, it creates moments, it creates content, it creates identity. He kind of becomes the piano guy. And that identity can be everything, because most guys are undifferentiated. They're a generic profile. They're a generic date, a generic vibe. Your shtick makes you specific, and specific beats generic every single time. So you as a product is not be better. Product is be distinct. Now let's go into the lever most men underestimate. That multiplier number 2 is market. Market is where you're playing, and market selection is one of the most brutal truths in dating, because it forces you to admit something. Your results are not purely a reflection of your worth, they're a reflection of fit. A great guy in a bad market will feel invisible. A decent guy in a great market can feel like a king. And Ken used a perfect metaphor. You can sell the best ice cream in the world with killer ads, but if your store is in Siberia in the winter, good luck. And that's what many men are doing with dating. They're trying to brute force results in a market that's not set up for them. So what does make a great market? I want you to think in a few categories: Populace. You need enough people for opportunity and momentum. Ratio. If the ratio is horrible, women behave like they have infinite options because they do. Unsaturated. If your city is full of men exactly like you, you're not that special. Culture and polarity. Some cultures celebrate femininity and masculinity more naturally. Other cultures flatten everything into sameness, and that creates anxiety and terrible dates. Cost of living. If you're stressed and grinding just to survive, your vibe is worse and your lifestyle is less social. And finally, pool of potential wings, because a Brotherhood multiplier needs people. Now here's where guys get emotional. They hear move and they think, I shouldn't have to. Well, life isn't fair. It's not about should. It's about results. And you do not even have to permanently move. You can test markets. You can spend meaningful time. You can do geo arbitrage. You can choose where you play. And men who choose their market stop suffering. Ken's story proves that, and so does mine. I built amazing social circles in both LA and New York, but when I started spending time in Kiev, Ukraine in 2018, everything got a bit easier. The girls were hotter, the cost of living was lower, and I was novel as the American in a place where few Americans dared to go. Now let's move to one of the most misunderstood and most powerful things, multiplier number 3. That is your marketing. Marketing is visibility. It's how women discover you. It's how they get context. It's how they decide if you're safe, interesting, and worth talking to or responding to. And almost every man has trash marketing. They rely on dating apps, which are basically the worst marketing channel in 2026. Bad ratio, superficial sorting. You're competing on photos alone, and you're one of 1,000 dudes in the same scroll. Then some guys try day game, and day game can work, but it's time intensive, it's high labor, variable results. It's great for your inner game, which is why I'm a big fan of it, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to change the game for you in a meaningful way without a mountain of work. So the question is, what is an efficient channel? A channel where you can get more results without proportionally more time. Our answer is Instagram, and specifically Instagram ads used correctly. Now, before you roll your eyes, listen. Most guys either do not know this exists, or they think this is weird, or they do it wrong, which is exactly why it works, because it's still underused. And when you do it right, you're not begging, you're positioning, you're creating a funnel. And here's the system at a high level. Step 1, build a decent Instagram profile. Not perfect, not influencer level, but clean, attractive, real, shows your lifestyle, shows you have friends, shows you're normal, shows your shtick, shows you can host, shows you have standards, because when a woman sees an ad, she's going to click your profile. Your profile is the landing page. Step 2, create an ad that has intrigue, context, and value. Intrigue means she wants to learn more. Context means she understands what this is and why it's not sketchy. Value means she feels like responding benefits her. Maybe it's an invite to something social. Maybe it's a new in town, building a fun group. Come join. Maybe it's tied to your shtick. Step 3, target correctly. Your age range, your location, language, interests. You don't have to be a nerd about it. You just need a working template. Step 4 is to filter your leads. Not every DM is worth your time. You need standards and a system. Step 5 is text with structure. That means flirting, logistics, a plan, not endless pen pal nonsense. And here's the part people miss. Instagram is not only ads. Organic content, also known as a reel, is marketing. Stories from events are marketing. A photo of you doing your shtick is marketing. A video of a fun night with a good ratio is marketing because it creates social proof and it creates FOMO. And the best part is it compounds. Events create content. Content makes ads convert. Ads bring new women. Women bring friends. Your social circle grows. Now you're not really dating. You're running a social ecosystem, and that is real leverage. Now the last multiplier is the one that turns all of this from good to unfair. And that multiplier, number 4, is brotherhood. Modern men treat dating like solo competition. That's why they're exhausted. That's why they're anxious. That's why they burn out. And it's also why they make bad decisions. Because when you are alone, everything feels scarce. So you overinvest, you chase, you tolerate nonsense, you spiral. Brotherhood fixes scarcity. Brotherhood creates coordination. Coordination creates outcomes that solo men can't even touch. This is typically called a social circle, but I want to make it bigger. Brotherhood is not just having friends. It's having aligned men on the same mission who play the long game and build systems together. Here's what Brotherhood does. It amplifies product because your social circle becomes more valuable when it's supported by multiple solid men. One guy hosts, one guy's a connector, one guy's a photographer, one guy's a DJ, one guy runs the ads. Different strengths, one machine. It amplifies your market because a crew has higher status than an individual. You're not some random guy. You're part of something, and women feel that. It amplifies marketing Because content multiplies across accounts. Because one guy meeting a group of women becomes introductions for everyone. Because your events look more legit. Because social proof becomes stronger. And then it adds a hidden advantage, accountability, and standards. A good brotherhood stops you from doing stupid things. It stops you from spiraling over one girl. It stops you from sitting at home swiping. It forces you into momentum. And if you do this right, you recreate the natural confidence loop. You get real results, which leads to real validation, not fake bravado, not motivational quotes, real actual wins. And real wins create calm confidence. Calm confidence creates more wins. That's the loop. Now, I want to land this with a direct punch. If you're listening to this and you still feel stuck, I can almost guarantee one of these is true. Your product is fine, but you're generic. No shtick, no social circle, nothing distinct, or your market is fighting you, bad ratio, bad fit, bad culture, or your marketing is trash. Apps, no visibility, no funnel, or you're alone, no brotherhood, no wingmen, no coordinated social momentum. And if you have two of these problems at the same time, your life feels like a grind. If you have three, you might feel hopeless. If you fix all four, though, it becomes unfair. So what should you do now? The action plan I want you to do is think like an operator, not like an emotional guy. So step one, I want you to score yourself from a 1 to a 10 on each multiplier. Your product, your market, your marketing, and your brotherhood. Be honest. Step two, identify the lowest score. That's your real bottleneck. That's where leverage lives. Step three, pick one project for the next 30 days. If product is a bottleneck, pick one differentiation lever, shtick or social circle, not 10 things, one thing. If market is a bottleneck, research 3 alternative markets and plan a test trip. Or if you cannot move, change your micro market, which is your neighborhood, the venues you attend, activities, your demographic. If marketing is a bottleneck, rebuild your Instagram like a landing page and run your first simple ad. If brotherhood is a bottleneck, stop trying to do this solo. Find aligned men, build a crew, join one. And that brings me to the close. The abundance you want is not about becoming someone else. It's about recreating the conditions that naturally produce confident, attractive, socially connected men. Stop trying to win a rigged game on hard mode. Start building leverage, product, market, marketing, and I'm going to keep saying it until it's annoying, brotherhood. That's the missing multiplier. If you want help implementing this, not in theory, but in real life with real guidance, real accountability, that is exactly what we do inside the Inner Confidence community. Not just tactics or systems, not just advice, but brotherhood. All right, that's it. Now go build something that compounds.